Hi, the Lee Farnell here, and thanks for listening to Leading Your Best Life. Now, this is a very interesting podcast because I'm linking John D Rockefeller, one of the wealthiest people on the planet ever, Rockefeller, and the Bhagavad Gita. The Bhagavad Gita, one of the most ancient Indian texts on life, yoga, the science of the mind. Stay tuned because the two are related and there's a powerful, powerful lesson for us all in it. So stay tuned. Here we go. Thanks for coming back, because you go, what the hell is he talking about? Well, first of all, last night I'm reading in bed the Bhagavad Gita. My yoga instructor, Andrea, has said, Lee, I want you to get the Bhagavad Gita and start reading it if you're serious about learning more about yoga and the mind and the science of life. So I'm up to page 48, and this is what it says. As the traditional chapter titles put it, the Gita is Brahma Vidyadan Yoga Shastra. I've mispronounced it, of course, a textbook on the supreme science of yoga. But yoga is a word with many meanings, and as many, perhaps, as there are paths to self-realization. What type of yoga does the Gita teach? The common answer is that it presents 3 yogas, or even 4. The 4 main paths of Hindu mysticism in Jnana Yoga, the yoga of knowledge. Aspirants use their will and discrimination to disidentify themselves with the body, mind, and senses until they know that there's nothing but the self with a capital S. The followers of Bhakti Yoga, the yoga of devotion, achieve the same goal by identifying themselves completely with the Lord in love, by and large. This is the path taken by most of the mystics of Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. In Karma Yoga, the yoga of selfless action, the aspirants dissolve their identification with body and mind by identifying with the whole of life, forgetting the finite self in the service of others. And the followers of Raja Yoga, the yoga of meditation, discipline the mind and senses until the mind process is suspended in a healing stillness and they merge with self. And it goes on talking about this whole idea of selflessness. Gandhi, this is the ancient word yoga, says Gandhi's intimate friend and secretary, Madhav Desai. So he says, is pressed by the Gita into service to mean the entire gamut of human endeavour to storm the gates of heaven. It means the yoking of all the powers of the body and the mind and the soul to God. It means the discipline of intellect, the mind, the emotions, the will, which such a yoking presupposes. It means a poise of the soul which enables one to look at life in all its aspects and evenly. And it starts to go on about selfless acts, selfish attachment to material things. It teaches that we can become free by giving up not material things, but selfish attachment to material things, and more important, to people. It asks us to renounce not the enjoyment of life, but the clinging to selfish enjoyment, whatever it may cost others. It pleads, in a word, for the renunciation of selfishness in thought, word, and action, a theme that is common to all mystics. And it goes on talking about everything depends on a state of mind. Action without selfish motive purifies the mind. The doer is less likely to be ego-driven later. The same action done with a selfish motive entangles the person further precisely by strengthening the motive, so it is more likely to prompt selfish action. So it starts to talk about selfish action, personal gain, versus action in the service of others. Now let me read what came up on my Facebook wall today, which was just unbelievable. It talks about John D Rockefeller. Let me just go through this story. It was sent from Discover Unseen. But anyway, John D Rockefeller was the wealthiest American of all time and was once among the richest men in the world. By age 25, he controlled one of the largest oil refineries in the US. By age 31, he'd become the world's largest oil refiner. By age 38, he commanded 90% of the oil refined in the US. By 50, he was the richest man in the country. As a young man, every decision, attitude, and relationship was tailored to create his personal power and wealth. But at the age of 53, he'd become ill. His entire body became racked with pain, and he lost all of his hair. In complete agony, the billionaire who could buy anything he wanted, but he could only digest soup and crackers. An associate wrote, he could not sleep, would not smile, and nothing in life meant anything to him. His personal, highly skilled physicians predicted that he would die within a year. So he was going to be dead by age 54, 55 at the most. As he approached death, he awoke one morning with the vague realization of not being able to take any of his wealth with him into the next world. The man who could control the business world suddenly realized he was not in control of his own life. He was left with a choice. So he called his attorneys, accountants and managers and announced that he wanted to channel his assets to hospitals, research and charity work. John D Rockefeller established the Rockefeller Foundation. This new direction eventually led to the discovery of penicillin, cures for malaria, tuberculosis and diphtheria. But perhaps the most amazing part of Rockefeller's story is that the moment he began to give back a portion of all that he had earned, his body's chemistry was altered so significantly that he actually got better. It looked as if he was going to die at age 53, but he lived until 98 years of age. Almost doubled his lifespan. Rockefeller discovered the power of gratitude and philanthropy, giving away the majority of his wealth. This act not only healed him, but also made him whole. The happiness he felt in sharing his blessings is the one thing that healed him. It's exactly what they're saying in the Bhavag Gita. Selfless action, non-attachment, not selfish act, but giving away for the greater good. In his later years, he reflected in his diary, God taught me that everything belongs to him, and I am merely a channel to fulfill his wishes. My life has been a long, happy journey full of work and play. I let go of worry, and God was good to me every day. John D Rockefeller, from July 8, 1839 to May 23, 1937, founder of Standard Oil. So I thought that was just incredible that there I was. I read in Bhagavad Gita last night about being a channel, being in the service of others, the higher cause, selfless action versus selfish action. It's not about me. And here, the whole point, reading from the Bhagavad Gita again, renounce and enjoy. Those who are compulsively attached to the results of action cannot really enjoy what they do. They get downcast when things do not work out and cling more desperately when they do. This is on page 55. Quote from page 55 again. Krishna is asking Arjuna to act entirely for his sake, not for any personal gain. That is, to work for the larger cause, for Krishna. The whole point of the path of love is to transform motivation from I to thou, thou, thou. From I to thou, thou, thou. That is, to surrender selfish attachments by dissolving them in the desire to give. Krishna puts this most beautifully in the famous verses of chapter 9, which begin, whatever you do, make it an offering to me. It's Rockefeller talking about God. I'm just making an offering to you. Whatever you do, make it an offering to me. Do it, that is, not for personal reward, but out of love for the Lord, out of love for the Lord present in every creature. That the love for the Lord is present in every creature. Whatever you eat, whatever worship you perform, whatever you give, whatever you suffer, everything is to be done and given, endured and enjoyed for the sake of the Lord in all, not ourselves. Goodness gracious. And then, as I say, that Rockefeller story came up the next day, so that he actually lived for another 40 or more years, 45 years, as a result of giving to a higher purpose. Hope this helps you guys. It could be too spooky for some of you, but the fact is, there it is. The Rockefeller story, Bhavag Gita. Life. There's so much to learn. What can you give? Make a difference, being a channel, being a vehicle for the higher cause, not for your own goals and needs. So that's, as part of that, we're doing a 30-day challenge, in fact, for free. You need to apply for it to see, well, one, do you have a business? Do you have a team? Do you have a sales team? Are you motivated to change? Are you open if you're a know-it-all, or just, again, selfish gain? It's all about you. Don't worry about it. If you actually want to create a business that is actually going to produce for the higher good, come and talk to us. Let's work together so that 1 + 1 becomes 5, or 5 + 5 becomes 20. I'm Lee Farnell. This is Leading Your Best Life. Fill out the form below. Apply for the 30-day challenge. Let us help you create a vehicle, a channel to actually do some real good in the world. And at the same time, you benefit as well. Thanks for listening. I'm Lee Farnell. I'll see you next time.